What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast No Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Insomniac games. Once again, asking people for patience. They did a pretty clever tweet last night. I had tweeted it on my Twitter, talking about, being in the kitchen, they're cooking, all that good stuff. Now, I wanted to talk about this just because, obviously, this is a reoccurring issue, and who do we put blame on, I guess, or do we put blame on anybody? I kind of wanted to talk through that, but basically what you have is anytime they post anything, pretty much, on their Twitter, they're met with questions of where's Spider-Man 2? Okay, pretty much every single time. Doesn't matter what they're talking about, especially, I guess, if they post something that has to do with Spider-Man, with pictures, without pictures, whatever. And so they did that yesterday, and they were met with, is this game still slated for release this fall? And they say fall 2023, and then somebody asks, is this just an automated response? I don't know why it's taking you 2 years to just show something. And they said no with a robot emoji. And then the guy says, then why haven't we seen anything for 2 years? The game is supposedly coming out in a few months, yet you have done nothing to show us anything. Because we're in the kitchen, it smells good in there, but we just ask for a little bit more patience. Now, I actually don't mind too much the questioning of this Altair. Maybe a little aggressive towards that end part, but ultimately, hey, it's somebody I think that's passionate about it. They're not sending insults, right? It's not like threatening, insulting. It's simply saying, well, you haven't done anything in 2 years. So I think this further just kind of heightens the anger people have when games are announced too early. I think for this specific example, it's a mix. So on one side of things, you have loads of games, not even just Spider-Man. I think they all deserve a fair amount of criticism when you show your game years in advance and you have absolutely no intention to show it again for more years, right? And that's what we get more and more and more of. You could even say games that are announced. So like when you had, say, the Max Payne remake, right? That's one where on paper, it's written down on paper. They're doing the remake, right? They're putting it together. But like it's going to come out in like 5 years. Why even announce it? You have games like BioShock. They actually did the same thing. They announced there's a new BioShock game coming. It's been, I think, 2.5 years, maybe even longer, since they announced that. Absolutely nothing. Mafia. And then you have games that are shown. Wonder Woman, Star Wars Eclipse, games like this, they're shown, and then they'll take, like, who knows, 2, 3, 4 years until not only will they come out, but that's when you'll see them again. So I think that's just a general problem in the gaming industry. Spider-Man has that problem. But then on top of it, it's also, and I've said this before on both of these channels, it's a new Sony strategy, and it seems like we're just going to have to get used to it. And so what is that strategy? Well, it's not showing a lot, right? You look at God of War Ragnarok. That was, in my opinion, that was maybe a test subject for Spider-Man, where people think, okay, well, it's going to get delayed because we just haven't seen. It's the first game. You think to Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, Death Stranding, all these games. None of them were shown in the way Ragnarok was, where it was very spaced out, very little info. And then, yes, over the last, I'd say, month and a half, they went for it. They showed what they wanted to show, and that was it. But it was such an odd pivot. And not necessarily it was a bad move, but it was just something different that we hadn't experienced before, and that made people kind of flip out. Spider-Man, I think, is the exact same way. I'd say plus some, because God of War was more consistent. God of War showed itself, I believe, every year, back to back until, the game comes out. Spider-Man, no. Spider-Man, by the next time we see it, which will probably be in June, right? It'll have almost been 2 years. And then they'll show it, and then 3-4 months later, the game is out. I don't mind that strategy. I actually kind of like seeing the game. Then you get 3 months of nonstop things for it, and then the game comes out. I don't mind that at all. The issue is when you have such a big divide between when you announce it, you show a trailer, and yes, we knew it was going to take a couple of years from that trailer, but you don't know exactly how they're going to, plan out the red carpet for showing things. So I wanted to, just kind of throw that out there just to say these kind of things. It's something we're not used to, and I'm not saying like necessarily we have to get used to it, like you have to accept it and bow down and say, oh, this is the right way of doing things. I think you may have to accept it in the sense that this is just what's going to happen, right? This is what they decided was maybe a good idea. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, and you got to go with it. So that's kind of where I land on all this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.